welcome to the 36th episode of the Mental Breakthrough. Second time here, Ross Clift on this podcast. Although last time I had called it the Mental Breakdown, but as I'm always trying to get that more positive note, I thought the Mental Breakthrough was much more appropriate. So that's where we're going at now. Now you're one of the loyal listeners. I appreciate that. Always commenting on some things to help facilitate some discussions, because that's really what this is about, is kind of having just some healthy conversations. I had a good discussion with a friend, not even really like a close friend, just like a classmate in high school, but we were both kind of just had a lot to say, and we had an English class together and we discussed topics sometimes. So sometimes there's like conflicting views, but I think it models like a healthy conversation. And yeah, so I like it. I appreciate it when you comment on some of the podcasts I have, particularly with Robert from over here that I met from English teaching. And
so if you see this, what's up, man?
Wait, what?
Say hi.
Oh, yeah. You see, I don't know if he's as loyal of a listener as you are to us, though. I was gonna try to get him on today. He said he's sick today, because I'd love to get a little three-way on. I like to start out by just saying, yeah, man, I love this. I appreciate getting involved. Of course, I think for me, especially because I'm way out here, that I need it. I need this, man. I need what did I call it? We used to do it before the podcast. Yeah, it was the intellectual booty call, right? That's what I said. Give me some of that. Just give me that. Give me a long ass rant. So I love my long ass rants. I think the last one, obviously, and I haven't really talked about it so much, is just this. Anytime there's these just global events where it's just like it's in your face, there's so much to talk about. I haven't really discussed it. I think that's where we're going to start out, is talking about the whole Israeli-Palestinian. It's deeper than that. There's shit before, there's shit that's after, there's shit that's going on. So go ahead and give me your rant in any way, and then I'll come back and
Well, you're catching me at a good time in life, because I'm a little more calm about it than I used to be. But I always felt like one of the few Americans, I guess, that kind of, without being a liberal necessarily, felt for the Palestinians, I think I've said it to you before for sure. Any situation like, it was like even with Ukraine, I think, it's like anytime I don't ever sympathize with occupiers, and I guess that's like a catch-22 on myself for living in America, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know. That's a different topic. There's a lot of ins and outs of that one. But, when something's so new like that, less than 100 years old, to act like it's always been ours, or, whatever kind of thing. I've never been a big fan of that. And
So this is like pre this incident right here, right? You're saying this is kind of like, or anything changed? Yeah, tell me how you already we've talked about Palestinian stuff before. Yeah, before this issue.
I remember when I had I haven't had Facebook for almost 10 years, I'd say, something like that. And when I had it, that was one of the main things I'm glad I'm off of it too, but that would be a thing that would, when I'd see a lot of the, I guess, Zionist Christians, talking. I don't know. How you see issues in life and you want to use your social media to kind of like talk about it. And it's really not, it really shouldn't mind my own business, but I would just kind of every once in a while throw some stuff up on there, like kind of talking about the Zionist agenda, right? And something that got brought to my attention maybe around 2009 or something like that, the whole idea of Zionism and stuff like that. And I learned really quickly that white males definitely aren't supposed to talk about Zionism because it puts you in this um, blanketed category of being a white supremacist. Because of like the ADL.
If you identify with Zionism, then that.
1 second, the record player. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just gonna turn it off.
Because yeah, I'm actually not even that. I mean, so Zionism is the idea that the Jews live in Israel or something, or that's they need to go back there. And then you use that term Zionist Christians, which I remember you mentioning it. That's confusing to me a little bit too. Like that, like in order, there's a certain group of Christians that in order to achieve their agenda, they need the Jews to come back and some catalyst for their salvation or something.
Yes, yes, and so yeah, there's that. I kind of lost where I was going to go.
Oh, okay. Well, no, yeah, like you were saying about the there's a if the Zionists are that you're going to get categorized as a white nationalist if you are supportive of Zionism, or the opposite.
If you believe that the Jewish people are God's chosen people, chosen above all the rest, and believe that their homeland is Israel, and that at no matter what, at any cost necessary, it's okay to give them their homeland. Take it from whoever you need to take it from, do whatever you need to do to. If you go along with that, get along, you're a Zionist. It's all about the, I guess, you have to kind of read the book of Revelations in the Bible to kind of know, I guess there's so many trigger words associated with all this stuff. It's hard to like openly talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, yeah, if you, okay, so you kind of already know this, according to like the Abrahamic faiths, the God's favorite people, God's chosen people are the Jews. Okay. And or God first spoke to a man named Abraham.
Okay. So that's all like I mean, Muslims and Christians also agree with this part. This is like pre-Muslim, pre-Christian era. So this everyone's gonna agree on this, all the Abrahamic.
I guess even I guess Judaism wouldn't have existed prior to God talking to Abraham. I really don't know where the scholarly take is on that, but it would seem that way, right? That people were doing their thing for not very long, because according to the Bible, it's only Earth is only 7,000 years old. So it couldn't, maybe goofing around for 1,000 years or something like that. And then God decides to talk to this guy, Abraham, and tells him that, like many nations will be built upon you and your sons. And essentially it goes on from there. And I guess their nations have always, they rise and fall due to God's wrath against them, because they forget about they take advantage of the fact that they're the chosen ones, and they fall out of God's favor. He smites them, lets foreigners take over their land, this and that. But in the end, the way the whole Bible wraps up in the book of Revelations, Israel is restored to its chosen people, to God's chosen people. But the caveat is once they get there, then the clock starts ticking for when Jesus comes back. And then there's like, I think ultimately it's still written too that it's kind of their demise, because they, according to Christianity, you have to accept Jesus as Savior. And most of them, as you know, even the Bible says they already killed him. They never believed Jesus was the Savior, and they definitely won't believe it if he comes back. And that's all according to the Bible. But anyhow, so, but the Jew, all this process has to happen in order for Jesus to come back, for these end times to be fulfilled.
Okay. So that
And
is, so that when you say the book of Revelations, that is referring to part of the Christian Bible, not the original.
so the way the Bible is you have an Old Testament and a New Testament. The Old Testament is all about basically all about God and the Jews, right? And his relationship with them and their ups and downs. Then and even the Jews believe a Messiah will come. They just happen to believe Jesus was a fake Messiah.
Yeah.
And didn't want to hear nothing about it when, and called him, a blasphemer and all that stuff. And back then you got killed for saying that kind of stuff and talking back to the church. And so that's, the way the Jews see it as it went down, as Ben Shapiro even said, Jesus was a troublemaker who got what he deserved, or something like that, something along those lines. And obviously Christians see him as the incarnated version of God, or his son, and the savior of mankind. And ultimately in Revelations, most of the Jews still will not accept him when he comes back. And all at the same time, this Antichrist, the devil incarnate, is supposed to show up. And
they're going to be, they're coming in the form of a person, or they're going to be obviously like come down in the same form.
According to the Bible, Jesus is actually going to like ascend from the heavens, and I think sort of hover in the sky, and all eyes shall see him. And within the blink of an eye, all those who believe in him will vanish and be taken to heaven. Like that. And they call it
we'll hear the sound too, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to blow that everybody hears and all this stuff, and you get this little fraction of time to like get down on your knees and repent, and if you don't, you're stuck here.
And you said there's people that like are like, actually, this is what they believe, and this is what branch of Christianity. Like, I mean, I hear Catholics, Protestants, all these different groups. I mean, is that just a one little group of people, or a large portion of people?
No, okay. If you're a hardcore, like if you're like literally about that life, then you have to, you take it all as not metaphor.
Okay.
It's the absolute truth. Some people, very few people, I guess, say, who knows when. Most people that I've grown up around with and literally believe, I hear it all the time that it's going to happen in my lifetime. Like that's them talking to me. Okay. Jesus is coming back in my lifetime.
And and so these steps, it's the Jews go back to Israel, and then I mean there's like a series of events, and they've already happened, and we're on the last step.
Trump was a big part of it by like doing that Golan Heights thing and making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. That's all prophetic stuff that's supposed to be going down. And like I've told you before, just to me, prophecy is nothing but, a cookbook being fulfilled. It's
kind of,
it was written, right? It's a script.
Gotta happen now, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're almost following it more, or either way.
Yeah, and it all ties into your main message, which is, learning not to be afraid of death, I'd say, or, something along those lines, living, but I really, most people are so afraid of dying that the idea of Jesus coming back to save them from having to die is much more palatable way of thinking for them.
Yeah.
However, I've watched it in my life where I feel you're not going to make the best choices in life if you think you're not going to die, and if you think, and it always baffles me, like, like when my family or something or my loved one or whatever will tell me that, no, it's in our lifetime. And it's like you're telling me, like my kids are not going to have kids right now. Like, to me, that's like an evil way of thinking. Like
Yeah.
Like, why would you, it's, and they started telling me this when I was little. So it's like, it's been a big part of my life, like outgrowing this and actually kind of standing up to it in a way of, so I guess like in my 30s when I was really kind of became aware of this, because there's a lot of people finally talking about this now. It depends on, I guess, maybe your algorithm. I guess most of the stuff I search or something, it tends to give me a lot of like,
Sure.
all of a sudden now I'm hearing people talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to scare you that the Christians want the Jews back there so bad, because
Yeah.
it's got kind of a bad ending. But like, this is the stuff I was talking about, back on Facebook
Yeah.
10 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
When just most people are like, oh, I can't hear something like that. Or, I try to explain what Zionism is, and because both parties are exploiting it, because,
Yeah.
the idea of a chosen class of people above all others is,
Is okay. That's okay. That's the connection you made. Yeah. That is
yeah,
gonna
well, and that you're
wipe.
not allowed to talk about it due to the Holocaust.
Yeah.
If you talk about it, you support Hitler.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that was the way it was framed for so many years.
Yeah.
I feel like finally that narrative is getting so old that it's like,
Yeah.
next,
Sure.
but for a long time it was like, um, like, what do you want, another Holocaust? Or something. It
Yeah.
was like,
Sure. Sure.
that's not what I'm saying here. Like,
So was this Zionism? This. I mean, that term was that. Has that? Is that a biblical term?
one time. And
So I mean, Hitler
that,
actually did Hitler address Zionism in particular? Or is Zionism came after the Holocaust because that was kind of when they all kind of started to group and come back, or this is like part of the
so this is like, like anything, you take it with a grain of salt because it's internet knowledge.
yeah.
But I've never seen the coin myself.
Hmm.
But supposedly, there's a coin you can look up. You can just like look up like, Nazi symbol Star of David coin, and on one side of the coin there's a swastika, and on the other side of the coin is a Star of David, which is that Jewish cross you see all the time
Yeah.
on the state of Israel flag.
Yeah.
And it was a, the rumor is that it was a it was a deal struck, between both parties, um, because it was mutually beneficial to both parties, especially at that time. I think in Germany or in Europe at that time. Um, See, the one thing that I just got to be blunt and say it, like that the Jewish culture has been known for years is bankers, knowing how to run banking systems and stuff like that, running numbers, very good at being able to talk you into a loan that
And debt. I
maybe,
was gonna say debt is that, and then that's like, I mean, that's even metaphor for like your soul. You
and
know what I mean? I mean that's the
it's historically true that like they've been kicked out of several countries over the years, but because of the banking practices that end up getting put onto the public, and it works for a while until it doesn't work, and
yeah
then everybody goes, wait a minute, like, this is not working. You need to, take you and your scam out of our country.
yeah
And so I think around that time in Germany and Europe, it was coming to a head at that point. But so there was a lot of, like, yeah, I guess just bad feelings in the air about it. And it happened at just the right time when, okay, so the rumor is that the Zionists, in order, because ultimately, don't ask me why they care about that piece of land so much. I have no idea why. Well,
yeah
according to the Bible, it's like, like I say, where God first started talking to humans or something, right?
sure yeah
So supposedly,
yeah
um, so supposedly it's so confusing because they've always wanted to get back to Israel because I guess they were in it. They had it until about like 500-600 years ago and got overthrown by Islam or something
yeah
during the Persian
Egypt
empires.
or no they were Egyptian slaves at one point, but that's like thousands and thousands of years ago, or is that yeah or yeah, do you know who pushed them out
That
of
was
Israel? Like why did they
most,
leave in the first place?
huh?
Yeah, why did they leave? I mean, I guess that's a I mean, because that
Well,
is their homeland. I mean,
I can't really quite remember how they became enslaved by Pharaoh,
Or,
because I believe the Abraham thing had already happened prior to, yeah, because Moses is after Abraham.
so yeah, that would have been a long time. So in the most recent reason they left Israel was Ottoman Empire or something, maybe. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that'd be 500 or 600 years probably. So
The weird twist is that it got re-inhabited by European Jews. They're not real, they're not like
yeah,
ethnically
yeah.
Jewish. They got Israel got re-inhabited by I'd
The
say the
Jews that were
lineage
living in Europe. I mean, or in Russia and Ukraine
that
and
actually like are part of a bloodline that converted to Judaism due to
okay,
something that was going on
sure,
a couple thousand years ago or something like that, like with some treachery banking shit or something like that. And I believe they were told to like, you can join our kingdom, but you're going to pick a religion. And I think they were given, like one of the three, right?
yeah,
Or something. And these are Khazarians. I mean, Khazaria, you ever heard of that? I
no,
guess it's a kingdom in what's now Ukraine. So
okay,
there's a whole circle going on. But so like the Jews we see in Hollywood and stuff, they aren't, Semitic, aren't brown and stuff like that.
yeah.
They're white with curly hair. Um, they're not even, ethnically from those lands. So it's a real, that's more like when you see that too, you're like, hold on, like I need 2 + 2 to equal 4 here. Like, that's where it starts
Well,
making my
those are like
wires start.
Hollywood Jews. I mean, because like when I was backpacking in India, I met a lot of Jews, and they were pretty dark
Were
skinned.
they like Caucasian
No, not really.
looking?
I mean, they were lighter than. I mean, it seems like they would have been mixed, maybe of some sort. It did seem to have the curly hair. They're kind of like like, I mean, but they look like Saudi Arabians. I mean, they look like Arabian, kind of like chest hair, yeah, long curly hair. I mean, they're like the kind of I mean, they're
Like the
usually kind.
typical American Christian or Christian Jew you see or something like that? Or
I mean, I feel like they're darker than the Jewish people that I know in America. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, it seems like they would have been lighter than maybe some Arabians, but they had an Arabian look. They're kind of good
yeah.
looking, I mean, I would have been hard to tell them apart from Saudi Arabia and some of the Saudi, but more again like the royal family, the royal MBS and stuff is kind of just this, doesn't look that dark to me, like compared to some. So I mean, it seems, yeah, there's probably, well, yeah, I guess that's an interesting area too, because I mean, uh, there
Yeah,
are
just
there's a large
it's like
sway.
an occupation. Huh?
I mean, there's a
I'm
large
sorry.
sway. The whole Middle East. Well, I mean, I guess that West Asian, Middle Eastern areas is really interesting because you have, I mean, literally the Caucasus Mountains are go right
Right.
through Lebanon. So like the word Caucasian actually refers not to, like, if you're German, Irish, that's not Caucasian. Caucasian actually is that mountain region that goes through Lebanon and Syria and everything. And is kind of the divide between Eurasia and Europe. And then you've got the African close there. So you're gonna have like darker skin coming in that way. Some people like Robert, who he's kind of got those Asiatic eyes. He's Iranian, but he's also, kind of white complexion, but real dark hair, dark features, and these Asiatic eyes. So it's really an interesting region. It's hard to say, like, by just looking at your skin tone and everything. I'd say they have, I mean, some of the most beautiful people come out of that region because they have these, like, kind of a dark skin complexion. Then they have these maybe light eyes, which you're gonna think is more European, and then they kind of dark curly hair. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to
Like,
point that out.
so like Palestinians they never left, right? Um,
I guess
so I
so.
mean,
So yeah, I don't know where do so Palestinians are in
so
the Bible. I mean, they're in that region. They've always been in that region, or they
at
had
least since that
name. I mean, it'd been like Philistines and Israeli-Lites or something, or those are.
uh,
I mean, because
actually,
Palestine was a British empire, or part of the British. that term, or I mean, that term was coined by like British colonialism, wasn't it? Or am I wrong there? I don't know.
I really couldn't
Okay.
say.
I mean, the words don't matter anyway. Yeah. Who cares what their names
But
probably changed.
I'm
So
just saying, like, if you look at a Palestinian, right? They've never left, so therefore, like what they, I guess, look like would describe what, I guess the difference I'm talking about. Because like your European Jews do not look like a Palestinian,
yeah.
right? I mean, at least
Yeah. No, I think of Palestinians, I think are darker complexion than a Jew.
yeah. And so I guess, yeah. So I mean, that just to me plays into, I just looking at it, I'm like, uh, so anyway, when that whole pact happened between Zionists and Nazis or whatever, it was like kind of the word is that the Europeans were ready to have that banking system overthrown and kicked out of the country.
Yeah.
And they call it usury. That form of banking is
Oh, okay.
usury.
Where it's
It's
basically
actually,
sell your soul to. I mean, it's funny. Yeah. I mean, it's basically
it's a
indebting
sin,
your soul to a system, right?
uh,
I mean, the debt, the whole debt,
yeah,
getting
and
owing some.
it's openly written about in a lot of their texts and stuff that like it's okay to use usury on the goyim or on the goyim
Goyim
or
are peasants or
anybody
what?
else, anybody, Mexican, African,
Oh, non-Jews. Golium is non-Jew,
and it means cattle.
and it means below you. Okay, yeah, below. Okay,
Cattle is literally what it translates to,
okay,
like the herd, right?
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, um, and anyway, I guess the way they would look at it is that if you're too dumb to realize it's a bad deal,
It,
then you are cattle.
you got to kind of agree with that. I mean, yeah. I mean, to
I know,
some,
that's what I'm
you know,
saying. It's like it's kind
yeah.
of,
I mean,
yeah, yeah. That's where the next message is um don't blame them for your
yeah,
problems.
yeah,
Realize, accept your part in this, that you were looking for,
yeah,
somebody came up to you, offered you an easy, soft route at something,
yeah,
and you're the guy who said, I'd rather take the easy road instead of the hard road.
yeah.
And that's ultimately
Argument for the
the
moral.
lesson learned.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's kind of where the whole
yeah. I wouldn't.
story
Yeah. No,
arms
yeah.
came.
They're both at fault there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's bad to take advantage of somebody that's stupid, but it's also stupid for being stupid. So I mean,
Yeah, but and generally, technically too, it's usually all spelled out on paper for you. You
yeah,
just we don't read the fine print, right? Or so that's kind of the whole catch to it is, so but at any rate, yeah, I would just find myself in the past because I saw the
yeah,
whole once I realized like so I had a buddy of mine who'd been to prison who kind of um like he would I don't know how again whatever we can talk about whatever, right? I mean
yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
a
Talk
good
about. I mean, you don't
person,
have to
but
name him if you don't want to. What's his name? Where does he
no,
live
it's not
right now? Huh?
no, it's not that. It's that so in the like the California prison system and stuff, it's very segregated,
Mhm.
right?
That you kind of have to click up
Choice.
with someone. Yeah,
Yeah, and the message in there, like so it's like so generally, the white population would be considered by today's terms or the ADL's terms, white
yeah,
supremacists.
yeah.
Just like any group, you're going to have people cling to those terms
Yeah.
and and be ignorant about things. But there is cross talk between the races.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
respect
yeah.
amongst each other, to each other.
Yeah.
Um, there is, but and I was asking him some question. I'm like, if he was like some white power guy or something, why is he friends with a black guy or something?
Yeah.
And he said, dude, you know, it's not about. He said, and he kind of the way it was worded to me was, it's not about hating any other race. The big thing that behind the white supremacist movement is being an anti-Zionist, and you know, so it's
Okay. So
they
that's
I guess they
interesting. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's the biggest thing, and so um it's about, you know, okay, because typically your white American is a nationalist, right? Like, or you know, um
Pro-American. By that you mean pro-American or like America first type
yeah,
mentality?
America
I
first.
mean,
Yeah,
which is
because that even that
reasonable.
term
Yeah.
nationalist, right, is kind of
Yeah.
become a phrase that all of a
Like,
sudden associated with something bad. But it's
yeah.
like, I'm white.
Most,
I like the country. I want
yeah.
to see my country succeed.
Yeah.
Thereby, I'm a national. Yeah, I would prefer our resources help our people before
Yeah.
we sell it off to the world and vice versa.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm a nationalist, right?
Okay.
But you know, but being you know, given the term white nationalist is also like the
Yeah.
the
If you use
trigger.
that term, that definitely does trigger that sounds like you're racist. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the shit I was like processing, and like it would piss me off. It was like, no, like, you know, I want to
Yeah.
and you can't really it's finally this whole everything going on is like,
So just
at least.
real, I mean, it sounds like a white nationalist is going to be pro-Palestinian more so than, or
So that's where the propaganda starts getting weird.
and that's what
So
it
the
gets weird,
propaganda,
right? That's what's so weird about this one. Like the Russia-Ukraine thing was like so obvious. It's like, dude, like why are we supporting this regime? And it's like, and they're obviously not. It's like, and it's almost like, I mean, completely throwing them under the bus the whole time. It's like we don't actually care about the Ukrainians. Like I feel terrible for the destruction that has happened to Ukraine and Ukrainian people, but it's like that's what was our objective here. Is like, so
it's the same.
like,
You
that
probably have
one's
the
so
same
one
thing.
sided. It seemed like there was definitely this camp that, okay, you guys are, but this one's kind of weird. Yeah, this one's getting tricky because it's all it's weird. What I'm having a hard time, but I'm actually happy about, in the sense that, okay, now it's not as clear. I felt like now there's a break in this, and like Biden's agenda. Now it's clear he just wants war. It seems like he's just a warmonger. Like that's, he's part of this you know.
Do you really think it's even him, or like,
Oh no, of
or
course
that's
not.
the
Of course not. But I mean, you know, the George Bush era, the same. It's like, you know, using an excuse to just get involved in the Middle East. Really, I mean,
right?
and and yeah. So, but then at the other thing, I mean, yeah, I'm like you, where I've always kind of thought like there's some weird stuff going on in that region with Palestinians. Like why are they getting all cooped up and stuff? Like you know, pre all this incident. But then it's weird, the people that are supporting Palestinians is like that they're wearing masks and shit, and that's just like a red flag for me. I just don't trust people that are still wearing masks. So it's like, at the same time, it's like, well, that shouldn't actually make a difference. I mean, let's look at the underlying issues, but it's just weird that this weird break has become, and it's kind of, and you're kind of helping me point this thing that actually I would have thought, because Palestinians are darker complexion, that okay, if you're a white nationalist, you're going to be pro Israel, and that's the weird thing, is like, there's this connection between Israel's or white colonial, you know, that's like, so I kind of, so I'm not jumping on one side either, because I'm like, I don't like being portrayed as um and of course, I mean, I'm Lebanese too, which is going to be more, you know, that's like all Hezbollah and stuff like this. But I mean, that's, of course, my family came over, you know, pre kind of this era of you know, well, Hezbollah or Islamic rule over Lebanon. But But okay, so we're looking at this. Yeah, this divide is specifically, it's interesting because there's I feel like it's a reshuffling of uh of people who
Cultures.
supported, the people who supported Ukraine
Oh,
are split, and also the people who supported Russia are kind of split in a way, in a different way. So it's interesting to watch it play out, and I guess from a larger scale, I look at it's. I almost feel like there's these, um, like there's new technology that's out there, and different groups are trying to get a hold of it, and they're using these are like last hurrahs of different groups trying to fight for power or something. I don't know. Yeah, no. Uh, so yeah, yeah, let's just get caught up to like this specific incident, and we can't start it off. What was October 7th? That's the number I keep hearing. It's obviously that's not when it started. But there is something started then, so we can talk about it like that. It's not like, oh, the Palestinians just attacked Israel out of nowhere. Obviously, this is. I mean, yeah, like you said, this is. I mean, it's been going on beyond
for a
our
long time.
lifetime, but I've definitely seen it a lot. The last 10 years is kind of a lot. I've been hearing this stuff, but then at the same time, there's every once in a while, it's like a lot of me is with this Palestinians, and I'm like, what? And I've seen videos a long time. I had an Egyptian friend that was, he had gone through the border, and he was talking about it, just like, dude, this is ridiculous the way the Israeli soldiers, vet them. But then
It's
at the
been
same
going.
time, what?
It's been that way for years.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, the
I
whole
used to. That's what, like, I see these YouTube videos. Like you could find them 10 years ago of like how Israelis treat Christians in Israel, how Israelis treat the Palestinians, or in Israel. It's everybody's subclass,
yeah.
subhuman,
Yeah,
and
but you could say the same for Islamic states too, right? I mean, they don't. There are like, I mean, if you're Christian or Jew in an Islamic state, you're subhuman as well. It seems like. So that whole.
so
But they're all Jews. It's almost like I mean, that Jew mentality is actually embedded in Islam and Christianity, it seems like, and that's kind of the problem.
it's always doomed to keep having a feud. Yeah, it's like, um, yeah. To me, yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's why I can't join a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
that's the best
it's
there. Yeah, I'm not. I
it's
wouldn't fight and die for anybody's
like,
cause except my own, really.
yeah, I don't understand. There's so much about it to think that I don't know, man. To go along with that whole process, basically, too, the other side of it too is that, like, you have to view, if you're not ethnically Jewish, you have to view yourself as an adopted child into God's land due to, Jesus. Jesus is the one who provided the blanket for the Gentiles. That's another word of saying goyim. Have you heard the term Gentile?
I've heard it, but no, what does that refer to? That refers to goyim, lower class people.
You can literally Google the word Gentile and it'll just say not Jewish.
Okay,
So,
okay,
I mean, red flags,
and that's where the word Gentile man comes from. Or I mean, there's some etymology there. Like gentleman actually
maybe,
might refer to a lower class of people, but that could be
he's gentle.
like psyop. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, there's some weird stuff. I mean, there's definitely a huge influence of yeah. I mean, I guess all these.
Well, just to kind of go off the rail for a half a second, um, you
Yeah,
know, uh, I I feel like the big psyop behind
yeah,
it all
yeah.
is to keep getting all people either looking east or west
Huh?
instead of north or south.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah. I think that's the fuckery behind it all. Like, I can't see any other like, to convince, it's amazing that you've got the whole world looking to either the east or the west, east, west, east, west. Right now, west is bad, Western culture, whatever. But and that's all same thing in the Bible. Like everything's supposed to happen in the east. So once again, like people like my mom and stuff, they expect America to fail because the Bible says so. But like, and if you have so many
Does it? Why? What does the
Americans,
Bible say? I mean, because of course they didn't predict America
because God
specifically, but
doesn't give a
America
shit about.
represents something, or
No, it's just the West in general. Anything
okay.
in the West, God doesn't give a shit about it. So, like when God starts fulfilling His plan, all His energy is going to go to the East. You
By
know what I'm
East, you
saying?
just
That's
mean
the Middle
West
East
Asia,
area.
Middle East. Okay, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
Um,
Asians, me, all Thais, Chinese, Japanese, Indians, they don't even matter at all, really. Like in biblical terms, they're like nobodies, right?
yeah, they're. But I mean, they are in the Gentile class too.
Probably even
You
lower.
know.
Okay.
But so I mean, that's what's funny to me is like, I mean, we should all be united in the fact that there is a culture of people out there. Like, I mean, it's even they run it so much that they've got it on Wikipedia that like you are not a Jew, you are a Gentile. It's like, all right, and anyway, and you're not supposed to talk about it, or you're a racist,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I'm too stupid to not talk about it. So,
yeah, yeah. No, that's
um, but I don't know, man. But yeah, north or south, and that kind of could play into some of that flat earth stuff and stuff like that, or maybe even back in the day, like quit thinking about the South Pole or the North Pole.
yeah,
That's really where
yeah.
all the cool shit happens, or as long as you're thinking east to west, you're thinking in a circle. You're a dog chasing your tail.
Mhm.
You're not thinking about like maybe the power you can harness from magnetic north, nor maybe uh figure out what the fuck's going on in Antarctica, or
Yeah.
so I don't know. That could be, it's a theory.
No. I like it because too. It's that's. I mean, that's where a lot of stuff. I mean, when you think about, I mean, yeah, most of the
The
North
whole
is all Russian too. So there's something going on there. Like why? I mean, the whole thing's weird. I mean, with
don't you think it's weird just to even have the audacity to think that God has this like favorite place on earth? Like this is his favorite spot. Not to mention like there kind of looks like a desert, but you know, based on like, Thailand, it looks like, the rainforests that grow there with no problem. That kind of looks like it's got God's blessing on it a little bit more than a desert in the Middle East.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, everybody seems to think that's where all the magic happens.
yeah,
Even like with Islam too, going to Mecca and doing that whole walk in a circle around that cube and stuff like that.
yeah,
Same type of, no disrespect to anybody,
yeah.
but to me, it's like, it seems like a I don't know,
Yeah, no,
no disrespect. We'll see the fruit it bears walking around a big black cube. I've never seen anybody walk around that big black cube and come back with special powers or benevolence over my
yeah.
intelligence or
Well,
you
what I think that has though is that you've got so many, and this is kind of like, I mean, if we get into like a spiritual
know.
realm of like
If
consciousness, to have that many people kind of on the same frequency is going to generate some sort of vibration on the earth, and that's what it seems like it's about. Like that's
that's the problem I've always had with it. Yeah,
because I
it's this
watch.
mass.
We've got that station. I don't know if it's in America. It's almost in. I saw it more in Phuket. Like I'd see it well in southern Thailand. There are a lot of Muslims, and there's a channel that it just there's one channel on TV that a lot of people are playing, and it's just Mecca. 24 hours a day. And and you see how many people are just circling out, and it'll change camera views and stuff. I mean, it's kind of I've actually sat there and watched it for hours. It's actually kind of mesmerizing, man. I get hypnotized. It's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to it. I love any long lasting tradition where people have been able to, it's just, I get weird with the idea of,
no, it's weird. It's scary kind of to see that many people in doing one thing and kind of connected like that. Like it's like ants. Like you when you look at like these ant tribes, it's like, wow, these guys are all connected by one consciousness. It's like if they're able to harness that, it doesn't mean that it's for good or bad, but it's like if that's kind of powerful that
well, just even the narrative of like I keep kind of talking about is that most Christians and most American Christians expecting America to fail, expecting it all to go to hell, expecting an antichrist to come. Like, how is that ever going to manifest a good future? Like, why are you
I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't.
And then they go, but it has a good ending, because
oh, you get to go up ending in the air and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I kind of would rather things keep going, and my great grandkids get to like do something cool here on Earth. That's the way. Call me a too loving of a father, but that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. And it's just that, but I do know the power of manifestation, right? And if you have so many, like a collective consciousness, like manifesting an end times, rather than like, hey, sometime we're gonna actually all learn to get along or whatever, what if that's the question I always pose is like, what would the world look like if the Bible had a happy ending? Like, don't you think a happy ending would manifest?
Wait, that's fine. I don't know. How does the Bible end? Everybody goes to Jesus. What happens to everybody else? They go to hell?
They go to hell eternally. Eternally.
Okay, okay. I probably should read the Bible or at least get a
should, bro. It's like
I want to read them all. They're just so I've read like pieces of it, and it's just so ridiculous. I'm like what? I mean, this is like, but so these are so. Yeah, I guess I should. I mean, okay, so
it should, because there's millions and millions and millions of people across the world who, if they don't read it, their pastor's reading it to them, who believe it verbatim. And I don't mean to call them your enemy, but that term, know your enemy, right? Like, read it for
absolutely
those purposes.
No, no. It's funny. I guess it's like I mean, in some ways, that's kind of maybe why I escaped that region. I mean, I guess to me, the most racist thing is it kind of feels that it's like I mean, even like when people talk about the East and they're talking about West Asia, like that's what in people in India or China, like that's called West Asia. Like the Middle East is called West Asia. Like that, I still think of that as Western. Like I think of Judaism, Christianity, Islamic. Those are all kind of Western. I thought, to me, that's all West, and then Taoism and Hinduism and Buddhism is East. Like I that's where I draw the line. I think, and maybe from an American mentality, they see Islam as East in Eastern religion, or I mean as an Eastern or like even that region as. I mean, if you look on like a map or globe or whatever, it's like Jerusalem is West, right? I mean, that's still all West. So, well, like when you said America is going to fail, I've always kind of thought of West as part of that, and somewhere around, maybe Pakistan or something, everything's East on that side, and I kind of always thought of. I don't know, but I guess I mean you can call it the middle. It's not even Middle East. It's middle of the West and the East. It's kind of a significant place on the.
I guess if you looked at it from like a flat Earth map or something like that, like the Earth is it would be on the east of like your north to south line. I guess because when the Bible was written, the world was still flat, according to,
Yeah.
the writers at that time or what have you, or hadn't been, you know, pronounced as round yet or a
Okay.
ball. But I guess probably with antiquity or whatever, the East would be, to the right side of that dividing line between North and South. I'd have to look
Yeah,
to
no,
find out.
I mean, it's just funny. It's like, so, I mean, from what you're saying, it seems like, okay, they're gonna, I mean, do any of these prophecies or books of Revelation or anything, do they refer to Indians and Chinese and stuff? I mean, Aborigines, like, or that,
Vaguely, like the people of yeah, but it's very vague.
I mean, it seems like you're either buying into that system one way or another, or it's like you just opt out of the whole Judeo-Christian Islamic concept and just kind of sit back. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing in some
Right.
ways.
And the narrative, I guess, to still keep those in line who are not who are, not going to play that game, um, you still are forced to go along with it in the name of don't be a racist, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not, it's in America for years, like if you do not support the Israelis, that means you wanted Hitler to win, and because
Okay,
you know what
okay,
I'm saying.
that makes sense. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
not quite finished when we originally were talking about the pact between the Nazis and the
Yeah,
Zionists.
yeah.
Basically, it was in order for to get Jewish population up to like to be able to change the votes. You know what I'm saying? You had to get a buttload of Jews over there. So all at the same time, you got persecution going on in Europe. Why not just go back to? They were trying to get them without, I guess, without the war and so without, but
Wait,
they
the
weren't
Nazis
coming
were
fast.
trying to get him to go back to Jerusalem?
No, like the Zionists.
Okay. Oh, the Jews that were in Europe were trying to go back before, or trying to rally up a group to go back.
Come back to the homeland. Come back to the homeland. Come back to the homeland.
Oh, so
And
you're saying the
most
Zionists actually made a deal with the
with
Zionists
the
were actually
Nazis.
pro Holocaust type stuff to initiate it, or I mean pro Nazism. I mean they were making a
If
deal.
you
Oh,
think
that's what you're saying with that point, that they would have worked together for the same outcome. Which I think those type of things happen all the time, not necessarily on
all the time,
conspiracy levels, but like definitely people who are maybe don't agree on things, they see that they could work together, and maybe that's kind of what you were saying about. I mean, like they see, okay, we both want this, so we can work
yeah,
together, have a
you're
temporary coalition between contrasting ideas to support a cause, and then okay, after this, like let's
right. And
work on this
then
together. Once we do that, boom, it's then that's just our one truce that we're willing to work together on, and then after that is accomplished, boom, we're back to being just coexistent enemies even.
yeah. And for I mean, once they started occupying, I guess, the bloodshed started too. It wasn't like um it was like once there were enough numbers there, then it was like time to go to war to like really establish a border here between Gaza and or not
Yeah.
Gaza, but what's left of Palestine and what's now Israel and stuff like that. Um, so um, and like I just never have liked the idea of anybody claiming superiority over
Yeah.
anybody else, especially in the name of a book that the Catholic
Yeah.
Church wrote. You know what I'm saying? You're like we all know the Catholic, or that there's some, stuff, not the Catholics themselves, not the ones we know that don't, but it's you know, they weren't the nicest of people in history, like most people converted to Christianity in the name of die or convert, right? So like
Yeah.
I've been watching Britannia. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
It's on Prime, Amazon Prime.
Oh
You
yeah,
should check that out.
I don't have any of those. I don't have any. I haven't watched anything in so long. But I mean, I get clips of stuff, so I feel like I don't. I feel like I probably have some idea of it through the. I mean, now it's like the way information is like past. It's like I try to get out of my little echo chambers that I know the logarithms are giving me. So I'm sure I can get the gist of it. That's called Britannia. I mean, that's like that makes me think of the encyclopedia. What's that all about?
It's like the story of the Roman Empire coming
Okay.
into Europe
Okay, yeah,
back
yeah.
when still pagan,
Yeah, yeah,
before it,
yeah.
um, it's just for me a lot of dots got, even though it's fictional,
Sure.
probably in some accounts, but yeah, it's the stories there of like
Yeah,
there was this going on in Europe, then Rome showed up and become Roman and start paying taxes or die, right? Start calling your gods Roman god names and stuff like that, and
yeah,
or we're gonna kind of have problems. Like now that you've accepted to be Roman, you're gonna, you can still pray to the same God. That's the kind of one of the things that they talk about, and they're showing this dialogue between the priests of the original group of people that lived in Europe and the guy running the show for Rome over there, I guess the general. Um, and they're like sitting in the bathtub and they were like, "Sir, we have a grievance." And um, there was something done in this, our church of with paganism, there's many gods and stuff like that. And even with the Roman Empire too, there was many gods. So there's different temples for different gods and stuff like that. But anyway, they were referring to this one god and anyway, the general told them, like, you don't have to change who you're praying to. We just want you to call him a name we recognize. Or,
yeah,
it's no different than your wife that you love very much came home and said, start calling me this now. Still your wife, it's still, they're like not really going for it. And then he goes, wait a minute, are you pissing in my bathtub? And the guy's like, no, no, I swear on the name of his God. And he goes, I think you mean whatever the name of his God is. And he's
yeah,
like, yeah, I swear. That wasn't so hard. Now was it?
yeah,
And it just shows the tactics that
yeah,
happen with occupation and stuff like that. And then ultimately that Roman Empire in Europe is where the Roman Catholic Church came out of. Is kind of my long story getting to it. So Catholicism was born out of a Roman invasion. You know what I'm saying? See, Rome had already invaded. They're all over the Bible too. They were in the Middle East when Jesus was being persecuted. And that's kind of the they show like memories. You know how in shows like it'll be like kind of a something that you go flashback to the past. It
uh-huh.
kind of shows this flashback of these two generals
Okay,
before they landed in Europe, what they were doing over in the Middle East. And it turned out they were the guys. So Jesus, when he got hung on the cross, he was hanging for a long time. Dad wasn't dying. And finally a Roman soldier went and stabbed him in like the liver or something like that. And he finally bled out and died. And these guys were the soldiers at their, when they were part of that conquering that was like when Rome got exposed to Christianity, right? And so somehow when they came over to take over the pagan world in Europe, Christianity must have come to some it must have gotten so popular that Rome decided we want Christianity to be the religion of Europe.
yeah,
And so like once you can kind of see it from that perspective, it's like, why would anybody give the Bible any like in college, it's like you can't cite something unless it's a what's this a source, a
yeah, yeah,
credible source.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You're not, if you're
yeah,
gonna give a fact in an essay or something, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like, why are you quoting something from the Roman Empire. Like
Yeah.
nothing, there's like, sure, they're cool and they're warriors and all that shit, but like to just blindly accept what they wrote down in the book as God's word from above, you're not thinking too deeply, my friend.
Yeah.
I feel like, but
No, I mean, it seems like if you were to believe that they're, I mean, it almost seems like that's the test. Is like, are you going to fall for it? You know what I mean? Like that's the real test. Like what? Something I think there actually is some sort of judgment day, but all if you fell for this bullshit, then you're
yeah,
boom, game over. You lose. Start again or
yeah, you
something.
give up sovereignty willingly. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tangled web we've woven.
Uh, oh, so there is this. Okay, so there are some other things, right? That they're bugging me about this. This what we got going on right now in
Well, also, too, really quick, don't
yeah
forget that Ukraine thing's happening too. There's a cleansing going on there, right? And the Eastern European Jews, or the European Jews that are now in Israel, who the world is kind of like over it,
yeah
like nobody really likes occupiers too much anymore, right? Or especially being so belligerent about it.
yeah.
And if those Europeans are originally from Khazaria, which is Ukraine, it kind of looks a little funny that all this is probably going to end up winding them back to
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Yeah, so
Maybe their new
yeah,
chosen land, or it has to
change.
no, it has to be Jerusalem, and like for the Zionists, or they just need any land to call their own, or it has to be the same land that Jesus came from. Or
Yes, yeah, yeah, for like a Christian Zionist and stuff, yeah, it has to be Israel, yeah, but for I guess a atheist, I don't even know.
have an atheist Zionist.
I guess you could. Yeah, I mean, you can still believe in the state of Israel
Oh,
and be definitely an atheist. A lot of ethnically Jewish people, or whether even though they're European Jewish or whatever, are atheists.
oh,
And so that's where the way it starts. The waters start getting really muddy. Like, so it's like you're European or whatever you want, or you're Ukrainian by your DNA is Ukrainian, but you're racially Jewish. Like I don't know. Fuck.
okay. Yeah, no that it's weird. Maybe that was my see. Yeah, that's see when I get in this for a while. I've and many times in my life I'm like, hey, I'm gonna read the Bible. Yeah, and then once you start talking like this, like, dude, I don't even know if I want to even fucking read this stupid shit. Like because it's so ridiculous. Like it's like that's why I like kind of getting out of it. It's like I want to read it in some ways, but I don't even know if I want to get sucked up in that shit. That I feel like I've had this. It's like it's almost so it is like you said, there's millions of people, billions of people that are read this, so it's like, okay, I should know what they're thinking, but then at the same time it's like it's easier for me. I mean, I think nobody in my region, nobody that I communicate with here really is familiar with it. They kind of look at it the same as I do, just like, yeah, they don't really understand it, and I never have, so it's like it is so it almost yeah I feel
It's
like it
nice
is
to see
just
the
try it's this negative force just trying to suck you up, but all of them, like I feel like I don't even know if I want to go down that rabbit hole and start looking into
think
it.
about it like reading a movie script. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, you're reading a movie script that most of the audience believes is true. You think
yeah,
about it from that perspective as you're reading it. And that's like, where the whole I want to, part of my emotions is I want to save my family from the switch and bait that's going to happen on them. It's like you're living, you think Jesus is coming to save you from yourself. And um, guess what? Nobody's coming to fix your problems. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
um, uh, and yeah, and then at the same time, I get mad that they're they're cool with like, just I don't like that blanketed. Just there's that knee jerk reaction to I don't know how that was tying in, but you know once to me like 9/11, obviously there's fuckery there, right? Like, but so much of America has learned to just automatically hate Islamic people over 9/11 and what that whole media campaign has done and stuff like that. And to just even watch that kind of like it's like when you try to correct them, like, nah, man, it's like they don't hate your freedom. It was never like about that. They is something else blew up those buildings, uh not people in the name of Muhammad. They didn't do it for Muhammad, and it was a something way bigger than that.
Yeah.
So and now most people have after COVID and stuff, a lot of even your baby boomers will see that now. There's just so much evidence out there that like 9/11 was an inside job and stuff like that. But they don't play the real forward and see like, okay, that was fake, or that was some fuckery going on, but this right here right now is real. And shit, I lost my train of thought again, my bad.
Well, no, well, let me comment on a couple things because that's what there's some interesting. I like listening to like some. I like when I hear words repeat. I'm like, okay, that's red flag psyop going on. But even if there is a psyop, I don't know necessarily what's the objective. Even you're in a psyop, what's the objective? So that was really interesting when that I heard that like reference to 9/11 when Israel was saying, okay, this is our 9/11. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean we're supposed to go pick a random Islamic country like Iran and attack them? Like, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of what we did. That our 9/11 was like, okay, let's go attack Iraq or whatever. And it's like, so it's kind of like,
Yeah,
so I kind of felt like it was leading towards, okay, Hamas attacked us, let's go attack Iran or something. Like that's kind of what it felt like it was moving towards. And I kept hearing this. But then at the same time, then this other thing that I heard a couple times, and there's like this Hamas leader, and I don't even know when I hear that. I don't even know. I think it's more of like a kind of a movement, and it's hard to say just because somebody claims that they're a spokesman or no, it's a spokesman for Hamas.
Hamas was even propped up by the Israeli government.
Yeah, right. That
just like the Taliban was propped up by the American government.
So that's what
it's like,
we make this connection. It seems like they're kind of blowing their cover in some ways. But then one thing that made me like there was a Hamas spokesperson making a connection between Israel's fucking crazy counterattacks, which are just like ridiculous. I mean, okay, I want to get into that, but they were saying this is our Hamas spokesman was saying like this is our George Floyd moment. I'm like, why is that guy even making a reference to George Floyd? I mean, first of all, George Floyd's a scumbag, and anybody that thinks like I think it's racist to use George Floyd as a martyr. Like that's not like I've heard some people. Maybe it's even Obama coming out. He could be my cousin or brother. It's like, no, stop. Like that guy's not a good person. There are a lot of people that could be a good martyr for like black rights, and that's not your guy. Right. But so that was weird of like making these connections, and then like I said, a lot of these people that are pro Palestine that they're doing, they look a lot like that Black Lives Matters, like that shouldn't, this should be completely separate. These aren't, there's an issue. I don't know if that's how like that was an easy group to rally up because they're already in your logarithm, and you could rally up support. Like I don't like making connections between things that aren't like like you've already got a group of people on your side. Let's just feed a narrative to them. I mean, these are completely different issues. But then the fact that even the Hamas spokesman was using that, then it makes it like this. And Palestinians, of course, are a little bit darker skinned than the Israelis. So it's like that seems like just a straight up psyop right there, trying to cause. But then it goes, and then that's what's weird is now it's throwing these then it's trying to point the finger at white people and be like, and now Israelis are actually that's why it's weird that anti-Israelis were the white nationalists, but now I feel like those are together. Israeli is also the white nationalist, or just, it's pointing the finger at white people. And then I hear this term like anti-colonialism or decolonialization, right? We hear these terms, which of course I agree with you, like all the these occupiers. And again, I think of India and Myanmar and Malaysia and all these countries in Southeast Asia and South Asia that were colonized, of course, Africa and stuff. I mean, and it's all over the world. These are just the ones I'm more familiar with. Those are like, is that a real connection to make? I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Can we pause it for half a second? So
yeah. You go to the bathroom
real fast? Yeah. Sorry.
No, Paul, hold on. Let me pause it. Pause it.
I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, back from potty break. Wait, did you have anything comment on what I just said? You remember what I just said? I went on a little rant there, but I have
I think we're both just kind of tripping out on the just we're like spectators, I guess.
Yeah. And I get, I mean, part of the psyop is like trying to get you to support something, and it's like I want to support just what's in my heart, which is that, and yeah, I kind of see it as like, I mean, there are, it is, we can look at kind of like chessboard. Like I don't think either side, like I think there's, I don't even want to say sides because there's more than just two sides, but and that's where it gets tricky, and that's what is specifically tricky about here. That there's more sides. I felt like the Russian-Ukrainian was more of a two-side thing. Is less muddy. This one's a little like it's tricky, but it's just like there's something like I stand okay for. I'm just thinking, and it was the first thing I did post because I do like posting quick because I didn't want to fall in that. The longer, if you wait, then you're like, oh, you got to like listen to other people to make your decision. I just said like right now, and it was actually the reason why I posted was because one of the, I kind of liked RFK Jr. was saying all these things that he was saying a lot of things I agree with it, and he's still obviously. I mean, Kennedy is like obviously he's got a bloodline that's involved in the system, but it's like still I can just support what people say. I'm not gonna just like this person's my guy. It's like okay, if he says something I like, I'll agree with it. And then it was weird. Like I completely and he generally said good things about his perspective on Ukraine. He said one thing early on, and then people like kind of called him out on it, and then he looked into it more, and that's kind of what I liked. He was able to go back. He was kind of real pro-Ukrainian at first, and then some people like kind of threw out some stuff and were saying like, and again, still for the Ukrainian people, I think are thrown under the bus. I feel terrible for all the Ukrainian soldiers that died, but like the political issue and stuff, I could see him actually. It seemed like, hey, he's looking at the situation. The first thing he said when the Hamas, or actually, yeah. So I want to talk about that October 7th thing. That is specific. We didn't talk directly on it, like my perspective, and it is coming out of it. But Israelis' response, I was like, just don't go. I mean, just don't go bombing. Like let's just step back and think about how we should deal with this. This is something to deal with. But RFK Jr. like tweeted something really quick. He was just like, we need to give Israel their full support no matter what, or something. I was like, whoa, and my comment was like, whoa, did somebody hack your account? Like, holy shit, did somebody hack his account? That didn't seem like the RFK Jr. I knew. And then But so from this is what I get. So let's talk about this specific incident, what you kind of have gathered in this time, because I haven't actually formulated my thoughts. So this might be a kind of a rant. But from what I look at it is like the there was a very well organized plan, and it may or may not have gone as I mean plans when they once you do it, things might happen differently, and you just got to react. And I kind of feel like in general, Islamic style military attacks they give more power to lower ranks, and I think that can be an advantage. I like and I talked to my brother who's in the military, he's retired now, but like just the way that sometimes these like top down, it takes so long to do anything because you got to get it like okay, it's a weird system. So in some ways I don't know how high up I think people have I think they have more like they're able to react. So anyway, so they definitely breached these walls. They're all walled in or whatever. Hamas is, or I mean, Palestine is walled in. There's these walls that separate them. If they want to come through, they got to go through these checkpoints or whatever. They bulldozed those out and came across. Some people were coming on hang gliders and boats. I mean, an amazing like it was weird because some of the people, they say they were like coming on hang gliders or like barefoot and stuff. So it's like they've got this image of like just this like that they're barbarians, but obviously very well planned. But what plans? Basically, I think from what I understand is just the plan was to just come in, get as many military people as hostages. They got other hostages, which is weird. I mean, the military hostages seem like the best ones to get, probably for global from a global perspective, if you want the global community on your side. But then at the same time, once those walls were down, a lot of Palestinians, this is what I feel, is like a lot of Palestinians that were in there that were angry, and it's like purge. So a lot of like, there were a lot of horrific things going on. I do think there was real rape and murder and stuff going on. I don't know how much of that was planned and how much of that was just like purge mentality. And then there were Israelis forces that came in, and understandably, they don't want these groups to have hostages. So they were just like killing everybody, we rather just kill the hostages now, which I think that's kind of a common plan for militaries to do. So that whole incident was like, or what? So
the Muslim or the Palestinians killed the Israelis.
So on this October 7th event, which definitely by no means is what started it all, but it did start something. It was significant because the Palestinians came across into Israel, and it was like a rave going on too, which is kind of, like that's kind of like the, from that could have sparked them. I don't know if that was the plan though, that there'd be a rave going. That would be like the first thing that they hit. So you got Palestine here that they're overpopulated. They're behind these prison like walls. When those walls came down, so there's a military attack. The Hamas military, they had bulldozers and stuff. I mean, they broke the walls. They came over on hang gliders. They went into this community that was mostly, I mean, that's where the military bases are. It was a military attack. I mean, they were attacking, and they had to overthrow these military outposts. What?
They were having a raid on a military base?
No. In that region, in the desert, like a rave. I mean, so there's military outposts on the wall, right? I mean, like the Palestinians are behind these walls, and there's military outposts. I don't know how they. I mean,
I mean, I heard they even flew into the rave on a paraglider, correct?
Yeah. And I don't think
so. The rave was close enough to the military base that they were able to fly a hang glider from a building somewhere, right? Because
So, I mean, no, it is.
Cheering for the ones.
Right. It's so like they were like the Israelis that are in that area weren't I guess they're not worried about they feel that I mean they weren't expecting it. I guess they weren't expecting that there'd be these people coming in and or that they could. They had enough faith in their military. They thought they had the best military in the world that would prevent anything from or I mean their defense against these Palestinians, which they've got locked up in these walls and barbed wire fence or whatever, like they're not worried that this would happen, but it happened. And then what and then again, whether that's what the 9/11 attack, I don't know, like it's an inside job, but it's like I definitely think that they heard some chatter that something was going on, and maybe they let it happen. Maybe they didn't know exactly what would happen. I know the Egyptians had told them that something might go down. Maybe they were just overconfident that they wouldn't be able to manage it. I mean, because these attacks are like they're creative, right? Like people just don't expect it like that. I mean, same with 9/11 is like okay, that's a creative way to do it. So it's like I don't know. I remember that Fahrenheit 9/11, which was that Michael Moore movie. I mean, I like looking at supposedly when 9/11 hit, like George Bush was like reading a book to these kids in kindergarten. I think that was set up. I don't know if George Bush knew. I'm looking at his face when somebody walked in and whispered in his ear something. It's supposed I don't know that is the moment that somebody told him, but I think it was because you look at his face and it was just like it was kind of more like, oh shit, like he knew what happened and he knew why it happened, but he didn't know that's how it would happen, kind of thing, or like exactly. I don't know. So anyway, so when I look at this, so that October 7th thing was the catalyst of what's going on now. And then, but I knew right away that the response would go in the exact opposite direction. I mean, now it's like everybody's turned on Israel, but Israel had the opportunity at that moment because there was all these videos of, again, I don't think they were Hamas people. I mean, there are videos of people just like, just ransacking these villages, kind of ransacking the villages. But there's so many of them. I think that was just a purge. It's just these are just regular people, and the militants that were involved in that attack actually did what they were supposed to do, and that was go in. I think they've got a lot of military people as hostages, and there are other regular civilian hostages, which kind of was able to get some global support to back Israel. But what they should have done, I don't understand why they wouldn't, is just like in a situation like, why would you bomb the hell out of these cities? And their argument is that Hamas is living in tunnels below the city, which seems real. I mean, it seems like they have been building up tunnels. There are a lot of, they show all these satellite videos of the production of them. So they know they've been making these for years. So it's like they knew they were doing it. And you show all these tunnel constructions, and then they do build like hospitals right on top of these. So that really is going on, but that doesn't really justify you to bomb a hospital, even there's a terrorist organization under that hospital. It is fucked up.
It's like, I mean, it's not even justifiable to lock them up in an area of the world anyway. Period. It was never justifiable.
Yeah,
the whole situation, right? Like,
yeah, that's
no you can do that to a human being.
And
that's
then
the only
blame. Yeah. I mean, it's like to do. I mean, to me, the situation to do it would have been okay. There are these people that carried out this attack. We should definitely ask why. Don't just say, they're just random barbarians. They should be held accountable to some sort of system. They probably could, if you have like footage of anybody doing some sort of horrific act, which I don't know how much footage there is of specific people, but obviously if somebody came in and raped somebody or shot a civilian, that just treat it like a crime, I mean, like, figure out what happened. But like, yeah, let's just figure out exactly what happened here. And if they're in the tunnels, which it seems like they are, then just put them under siege, which they're doing, but they're putting them under siege and bombing civilians. So it's like, why wouldn't you open the gates and tell all the civilians to come out and then put the tunnels under siege or something? It just seems like a more way to go, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to open that would actually kind of, then that would
You're trying to make sense. You're trying to make sense out of a news narrative, right? And it's never, it's a narrative. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost to try to even figure out, you know what I mean? I think it's so much different or deeper than, not even deeper, but.
Well, I am trying to, no, I'm trying to look at the
so
psyop.
much, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like if it were a legitimate situation, obviously this is how you would act, and but they're acting irrationally. Irrational behavior is like, and it's a justified irrationality, right? It all should, kind of spell trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like this way, but like I say, there's so much. You're accepting a narrative that like the news gave you, and they've never in history ever told you the full truth.
No, it's not accepting the narrative. It's looking at I'm still on the psyop the psyop line. Like this is that's the thing. My point is that the mainstream narrative has turned us against Israel, right? I mean, isn't that?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, bro. I have not watched one news clip on any of it. There's a couple of internet person out here.
Yeah, no, that's mainly what I do. Is I'm mainly podcast, and I listen to what's interesting though is the podcast that I'm listening to were they're split, so it's cool. It's like I'm hearing both sides. And I think I'm getting the mainstream narrative through them. That's why I like what I just said right there was a combination of
two narratives. Video glider, like I'm assuming, like were there videos of a paraglider like landing into I even heard the rave was like a gay rave. Or like,
oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
I was in a rave in India with a whole bunch of Israelis, and there were a lot of some guy tried to grab my cock, but
no, but I just like. I mean, is that on the TV, like them flying
the paraglider thing? I don't know. I never saw it. I just heard about it. Most of my stuff is all. I'm pretty much all podcasts, but I feel like I'm getting the mainstream narrative. But that's the thing. I get to me. I feel like there's much. What came out of all this is much more. I mean, more. There's more people are siding with Palestinians than before. I mean, like I've been hearing this for a long time
too, but I wasn't sure if that was just my algorithm favoring my
See,
what I mean? But yeah,
me too.
Because I feel like if I looked up a lot of pro-Israel stuff in my life or whatever, I would probably be getting all the pro-Israel propaganda, but because yeah.
And that's see, maybe they know. See that you got to give credit to the logarithm. Like because I feel like I'm naturally skeptical about mainstream narratives, and to me right now, I feel like the mainstream narrative is pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel. So now that makes me think like, wait, maybe the Israelis really are maybe, but that's am I? I don't know. I guess anybody. I thought.
I keep seeing clips of that Piers Morgan. He's some British journalist or something.
Okay.
Morgan. Okay. I guess he'd be like would he be like a Walter Cronkite of British of like your
hard talk. I listen to one that a British guy he's hard talk, but he's Sacker or something and So
Yeah,
it
but
might
I
be
mean,
similar.
it's almost
He just
like
interviews,
you
right?
know,
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. Or Pierce Brosnan? No, would you say? Not Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Morgan.
Pierce Morgan. Okay,
Pierce Morgan.
okay. I
It's
think I've heard
like
him
10 years
recently. Yeah, I
ago.
think I've heard him recently on a podcast. Maybe a clip. Okay, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
It's like, have you seen that Egyptian comedian guy, Yosef something? He did a
Yeah,
lot of clips of him around. He's talking to Piers Morgan in a lot of those clips.
yeah,
When he's kind of comedically stating the obvious of
yeah,
like, anyway, but so like, prior to all this stuff, like the way the TV cycle would have even let the interview go down, it would have never even been given the opportunity to even let a negative thought be spoken about Israel. And
yeah.
it's almost like now guys like Pierce Morgan are being told to sort of look like you're fighting for Israel, but you're taking the fall. Like you're going to lose the argument on this one. You know,
Okay,
it's almost the vibe I'm getting. Like as I'm watching this stuff, it's like,
yeah,
yeah, like why are they letting this? I mean, I'm kind of I've been waiting for this day, but now that the day's here, like it feels artificial. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah. That's what's weird. That's what's going on sometimes, and that's like. So I mean, yeah,
yeah. So once again, what's the end game, right?
yeah, and well, that's. I mean, it seems like there's.
So if you point out if this is what if we're both getting the same vibe, it almost looks like Israel is gonna lose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
They're gonna have to go somewhere, right? Once they,
Ukraine.
where are they going?
Ukraine. Okay.
Well, convenient.
Because yeah, see that's so okay, yeah. So now strip back all the specifics and look at let's look at that. Yeah, where is this leading? Because I was thinking that first of all, yeah, why would you have? I mean, that whole region, like when I think of, I mean, I guess we're looking at like global.
Even spiritually speaking, man, like anything built on a lie is always doomed to crumble, right?
Yeah,
So the state of Israel was already like currently, as of 90 years ago, it was built on, it wasn't built on morality, it was built on, an occupation mentality. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, no matter what, you know, it, it's doomed to fail. Even if you're a Buddhist, you'd see it that way. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Nothing built on something dishonest is going to last forever. You know, so I'm sorry.
yeah.
Side note.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I do like looking kind of at where this all is leading. So yeah, okay. So Israel lost. I think we both agree. They're already there's
Currently, we could be watching a football game. Like where it's like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly. Yeah, no, that's true. So I mean that
coming back, coming back.
just like Ukraine. I mean, it was easy though. It was easy to see Ukraine. There at no point did I ever feel. Oh, okay. I mean, at no point did it ever seem like Ukraine was going to win. At any point, it never seemed like that, except for
And same thing. It was like you were almost kind of rooting for Putin a little bit, because Putin was just trying to get his land back from you know what I'm saying, and trying to defend his homeland against invaders,
and
against
he's
foreign
doing it
invaders.
pretty like rationally when you like. I love listening. That's actually why I like Putin is because he can speak for hours, and I always listen to people just talk and stuff and it's not sound bites, I mean, you can take sound bites from it, but I've heard some of his speeches. It makes sense. Like he just has a and pretty collected and calm
Approach.
and stuff. And it's like, but then like with this, what's going on? I mean, okay, so I guess, and I say like from over here, it's nice looking. I guess what I see though is okay, so let me ask you this because you're in America, is like, how is this going to affect America if Israel falls and America is back in, although to me it doesn't look like, it seems like a lot of people that like, it sounds like Biden is in support of Israel, but it doesn't, I mean, or the people running Biden, but there's a huge faction of that camp that would probably voted for Biden that are not supportive of it. And then it's also it seems like it also is kind of split. I mean, we know that, yeah, Israel's got their APEC or whatever it is, the largest, I don't know if they're the largest, one of the most largest like fundraisers, I mean they're supporting Congress and they're definitely on both sides. It's not like a left or right issue. But I feel like that's crumbling too. I feel like that's, I mean, that's the Israel's influence on America is crumbling. So where's that should help America. But the problem is, somehow, this is what I hate, is that I feel like there's
like, like how many American politicians have dual citizenship to Israel?
No.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, that's another weird caveat about the state of Israel. It's like, if you want to claim you're Jewish at any given point in time, you can come over here to Israel, do a couple of years in the military, and you're a citizen. And in the name of all the atrocities that happened in the Holocaust, you can be a dual citizen. You're allowed to be American and Israeli. And I mean, even that should be, like, how is that got American values written on it? Who are you loyal to, Israel or America? Who's first? Like, if, who gets the tax dollars first, us or them? And when most of your politicians, left and right, have dual citizenship, that's not exactly there's you're going to be subject to a lot of bias. And when, most of us don't have dual citizenship, our representatives are dual citizens of another country. That's I don't see how that's a good thing, if you want a strong country,
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I like looking at how, like, there's always conspiracies and psyops going on, but there's also another thing is like taking just advantage of the situation. So I kind of feel like it's not, this isn't a controlled psyop. There's psyop is involved. There's motives. There's definitely motives involved, but I feel like there's enough. Like I said, it's more than two sides in this one specifically, and there's multiple motives going on at the same time. But I feel like
this is one of those times in history where everybody in the world is going to have to pick a side, right?
That's where
that's where we're going towards, right?
Well,
China,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be like a World War III scenario.
Yeah, either the whole world just keeps kicking back, and I get, sure, you want to kill all those people that can't do anything to protect themselves, like, no diplomat is going to stand by that, or you are, and it's just a divisive issue that the whole world's going to have to pick a side on.
And this is what I was thinking, is it's almost like I look at it as it's a good opportunity for like a world government. I mean, we already have kind of a world government constitution. And this is, I'm worried about that type of mentality, but that's what I feel like they're calling in. They're ushering in. Okay, we can settle this as a the UN or whatever, which they're arguing now, it seems like. But if they were able to agree by showing all this argument and everybody's getting uneasy, if they were able to produce something and everybody agreed, I think it would be easy to sell the people on it. Like right now, if there was one thing that, like, Iran, China, America, if everyone could agree on one thing, everyone would jump on it. Oh, wow, we're finally in agreement. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, what are we agreeing to? And it's probably going to be a secure, and I'm not even completely against it, because there's a lot of situations, but I think, for instance, what could have prevented or this would be if we had like you know, a lot of, if we had technology that could just like see everything in real time, you know, like you know, super CCTV, like, you know, eye in the sky, seeing everything. If we were able to just like see who did what, like full transparency. So, and then of course AI is coming in here. I just feel like we're preparing ourselves to write out and sign up to a world organization, because if and maybe they're writing it right now. I don't know. I feel like, and even part of me is like, would jump on. I mean, it would seem nice if everybody could just, if we were able to like write out this system that everyone agreed on. And by everyone, I just mean like all the quote unquote people that tend to disagree with each other, which are like the head of state for different countries. And they throw the, I mean, they'd be throwing people under the bus perhaps, but then it's like, so yeah, I don't know. So I kind of asked like that. Yeah. What's coming out of that in, yeah, where's America going to be if Israel falls? And is that going to be, I guess the connection I don't like is that I feel like a lot of, I don't know, I feel like a lot of, I feel like I'm thrown in, like I don't want to be thrown in categories, and I feel like you're automatically thrown into a, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Um,
I just feel like where is this leading? I'm more like is this,
oh,
how are they going to use this to get more control? Because that's what it's like 9/11, more control,
it's jujitsu,
COVID,
bro.
more control. This is just like they're going to use this opportunity, whether it was planned this way or not. They're definitely going to use this to get more control. Everybody, all of them, all of the UN probably is going to use it to gain more control.
Sure. And you know, and once again, that plays into the whole Bible prophecy stuff too. That's all part of the end game. There's a one world government, and a great deceiver is going to show up, and the whole world's going to fall for it. And you know, because he's going to come and bring peace. And but you know, there's a it's yeah, it's there's a hidden agenda behind that fake peace. Because I mean,
Interesting.
everybody says one, you know, like we're all one world, but you know what, the earth, or you know, we're not diversity, like like I don't know, a one world government would end up, it'd be like trying to turn all the different trees of the world into the same tree, you
Yeah,
know, and that's just against nature. It's
yeah,
not, you know, um I, you know, so that alone in itself, you know, people, I wish, you know, that's why I believe in nationalism. I believe it helps preserve different cultures in different regions. And when you get rid of nationalism and you just make it one great big smorgasbord, eventually everything becomes, you know, the same thing over time, you know. And if you don't use some conservation, you know, if you don't conserve these different areas, you know, you're going to have all this cross pollination and stuff, and eventually you wind up with a loss of so many beautiful cultures, all cultures.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I always say, like, eventually one day Mexican food is just going to be called talk, or you know, you're not even going to be able to call it Mexican food. Yeah, it's just going to be food.
You
You
know, they
know,
call
it's not
French bread in France.
bread.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, no. I mean, but yeah, no. And see, and that's that weird. That's that paradox. Is like I feel like the, well, I mean, I guess it's that double think or double talk is like the exact opposite of like these diversity inclusion, like is actually means globalization, or it means like one word, like all of these terms, like yeah, I'm like, I like diversity, like real diversity seems good. And then in the name of diversity, we're trying to like
First.
create
Yeah,
one like yeah,
yeah, thereby getting rid of diversity.
yeah, that's what's funny. So it's like I feel like but again, so that's almost the yeah, I don't think it'll win though. I think there's enough.
It can't work because it's against nature.
Yeah,
It's
it
just,
does. Yeah, you how could you do
but
it? Yeah,
it's the folly of man to try,
yeah.
and play the role of creator, I guess. But it kind of, and once again too, it's who do you think is going to be the governing body of this one world order? Like what group of people? Probably the chosen ones. And that's how it's written in the Bible too. So
Well, who are
um
they? Or I mean, who are how are they going to establish themselves?
the Jews.
So,
No,
so I mean, okay, so yeah, but there's that would be the ones who would want to rule it, but there's no way that they don't have it. There's no way if that was their one shot, and there's no way they could come out of this and rule the world, right? I mean, there's no way they're going to
wait
get
till
out of this.
wait till Trump gets elected. That's where Trump is pro-Israel, right? And
Okay, yeah, I guess.
once Trump comes into the game, you're going to see American sentiment swing way back towards Israel.
And
And so, like I said, we're kind of watching a football game at this point.
yeah,
But it's almost like they're probably getting ready to set up the pro-Palestinian people, or maybe sympathizers, as like the new hippie culture. Probably they're probably going to somehow like, what are you going to be, one of them dirty hippies? Like, if you were
yeah,
against Vietnam and stuff, like you're a
yeah,
dirty hippie. Like
yeah,
there was, how they did that whole setup there. There
yeah,
was a legitimate movement against the like scholarly people were
yeah,
against the Vietnam War.
yeah.
Then you
Okay,
insert hippie culture into it, and now it's
yeah,
like, now pick a side. Are you with the hippies, or
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's almost, come next election,
I see that.
you
Yeah,
see a big shift again to running the ball back that way. And like I said, he already set it up in his first term, by giving Jerusalem. There's part of the whole end times too is there's a temple in Jerusalem that is going to be rebuilt in the end days or something like that. And I think it's the temple that cracked when Jesus died. Like, I guess when Jesus died, this earthquake happened over there, and this temple cracked in half. And when that gets rebuilt,
yeah. All this time they never fixed it.
I know.
I mean, if it's
Yeah,
it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's just like let it lean. If that's what we like.
yeah, that's a good crack. We'll leave that crack there for the time being. Yeah, yeah, I don't, but I do think no matter what, the West is going to be. It's obvious the money shifting. We're no longer, like, it's not much longer that the we're not a world superpower anymore. It's over.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Nobody wants to hear what we have to say. Like, we done gave all that. We lost our integrity.
yeah,
And you know, so yeah, but I kind of like the idea of the West sort of getting lost in second, third world culture, almost
yeah,
like we're like sort of forgotten. I mean, most of the drama is going to happen over there, and if you want to sign up for the war and head that way, so be it. Go ahead, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna. I'm almost gonna like just not, kind of not even being recognized anymore. As a, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not our fault anymore for this or that going on. It's,
yeah,
you know, we can just get lost in our own program here, hopefully, right? And
yeah.
farm your land and do your thing. Just like, imagine what the Russians did when, USSR fell for 20, that whole 20-year rebuilding process when
Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah,
it's not like they went away or they all died. It's
yeah,
just,
exactly. just
Went into the
get the spotlight off me, right? Yeah, take that
spotlight's
magnifying
on.
glass off me. I'm not just like, yeah, just
Yeah,
let me do my thing.
and so like you know,
Yeah, a couple interesting
um,
things here, and I mean, I like to just throw a little perspective out for like this neck of the woods because it's funny how like also yeah, I mean, it feels like that in America, but like actually like like I don't know, I mean, Thailand's pretty like people are just kind of they don't really get too involved in all that anyway. Like they don't really know even. I mean, some people think America is a country in Europe or something. You know, it's not like. Um, so it's like, I mean, it's kind of, but some things that there's a couple things I'll mention that they're just interesting to know. Yeah, one they didn't. We got to a point that, like I guess part of like the World Bank is probably that Jewish system of debt. Like Thailand decided not, they did made a big decision. They were about to introduce these, you know, CBDC, like you know, some and they were going to take a loan out from the IMF or whatever that is, like which is part of the World Bank, which basically just puts them in debt. And they said no. They decided no, which was I guess a big deal. And they're just like, no, we're just gonna rough it through. We're not getting into that. So I feel like the whole monetary system is probably gonna collapse. And in some ways, I see like American printing all this money to, you know, for all these things, you know, that really I feel like they're printing money because it's the dollar does still have power. They're able to, hey, let's use it, but they're whatever they're buying, real estate, farmland, gold, Bitcoin, or whatever is it. We're definitely there's definitely a shift in in influence, and and America does still have a big influence on Thailand. Thailand's interesting because it never was colonialized and colonized. I guess that's colonized, right? Yeah. So, but there is a huge American Western influence here, but there's also a huge Chinese influence, and by them just kind of rejecting that, they've also rejected some like China comes in and tries to like, you know, buys they've got their own system that to take over countries.
take the deal, and like they, as long as you don't try to get in on their action, it's kind of. It seems like they'll just come back again, ready to take the deal. Okay,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's yeah, it's yeah, and that's the value of staying you know, nationalized is
yeah,
having that. But the second you take that deal, like whoever you're taking that loan from, they're now the co-signer of whatever you're, you
yeah,
know, there's collateral with every loan.
yeah,
So what's your collateral in a situation like that? Your country,
yeah,
you know? So,
yeah,
that's where America fucked up, you know, I don't know, 100 years ago or something like that, where, you know, we took a deal that we shouldn't have taken, you know, and
so is Israel banking system is out of or money a debt or
I guess it would be that international monetary fund system,
okay,
the IM, you know, uh, I would need to look into
yeah,
what
who where,
culture those who runs the IMF.
yeah, and it could be. It
Yeah,
doesn't even really matter what citizen they are. They're I mean, or I mean, it is. I mean,
here, let's see. Let's look this up real quick. Let me check something just for the hell of it, because I don't know.
yeah,
Give me try to get my computer on. I want to see, like, I think I've kind of looked this up before. Let's see. Um,
like who actually, but
like CEO of IMF or something, or would that
is that
even have a
is it a yeah? Is it no? That's I mean, it's got to be a yeah. Is that synonymous with the World Bank, IMF, and the World Bank? Are those different? All right, you do yours.
uh
Ask Chat GPT on this thing here.
International Monetary Fund, um, president of, I don't know if this is
What's the difference between the IMF and the World Bank?
In terms of population, Sunnis are the larger group within Islam, comprising
Wait,
approximately 85.
whoa, whoa. Ah, the IMF and
managing.
the World Bank, two influential institutions in the world of economics. The IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, focuses on promoting global monetary cooperation and maintaining financial stability. It offers assistance to countries facing economic crisis and provides policy advice to help them regain stability. Yeah. And then the World Bank, formerly known as the International Bank of Reconstruction. The World Bank is American, but IMF, yeah, okay. So that's what you're looking up. Where is the IMF? Who runs the IMF? Who runs the IMF?
The World Economic Forum trustees,
Oh, is that what it says? Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
the
Interesting.
WEF.
It's an interesting organization indeed. So you're wondering who runs the show there, aren't you? Well, the IMF is headed by a managing director. Now, can you guess where this person comes from? I'll give you a hint. They are always chosen from one of the 189 member countries. Now, here's something fascinating about the selection process. Traditionally, the managing director has been a European, while the president of the World Bank, another global financial institution, is typically an American. Some people have raised concerns about this arrangement being outdated given the increasing global influence of other regions. So now I leave you with a question. Do you think it's time for a change in leadership dynamics at the IMF? If so, why? And if not, why might the current setup still be relevant? So are you using ChatGPT yet? It's better than
No,
Google. I mean, it's tricky and I don't trust it, but and it also will start like kind of maybe giving you confirmation bias and stuff, but it's interesting. I mean, they can answer your question kind of directly, and then you kind of respond back. So at this moment, who is the managing director? Oh, wait. So at this moment, who is the managing director of the IMF?
I think it's Georgieva or
The International Monetary Fund. They're not quite sure.
I think
Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Gary. Bureaucrats or followers, civil engineer who supervise state. Anyway, yeah, fuck. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there are I guess okay, there's one line I wanted to I wanted to kind of we think about it as like, so there's a lot of propaganda basically going around, but sometimes we use okay, propaganda is used to feed a narrative, but in the best sense, propaganda is going to be truth. Like that's the ideal. Like, and then if there's not enough truth, then they kind of manipulate the truth. And then if there's not, what?
If it's true, you don't need propaganda.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think propaganda, sometimes it starts out with truth. Like, there's a true point that somebody wants to make, but then they hold on to that truth so much that it's like not everything revolves around that. And if you hold on to that, then now, but then you're holding on to it, and then you want to support it so that you're going to manipulate the truth, and then eventually you're going to have to lie to support that pillar. It's like a lot of these pillars of truth are I don't want to sound like a relativist, but in some sense, I mean, the goalpost does move, and to hold on to a narrative, even if it is true, to hold on to it at all costs means, reinforcing it with manipulations and eventually lies. So it's like, so in a sense, it's like sometimes propaganda, I guess my point is sometimes, yeah, it might not, it actually was, it came from anti-propaganda. Like most of these ideas came up as ways to fight against the current narrative, but then those are only so much true. Those aren't like whole pillars that you can just base everything moving forward. So I feel like that. I mean, we're at this interesting time where, there's definitely major influences are falling, right? And I think that's something that should be celebrated to some extent. But I guess my fear is that we're gonna grasp on to truth, something that is more true or truer than what was standing before. But then there's going to be people that they're going to hold on to it too tightly, and it's just going to create a new power dynamic where it's going to take 100 years to overthrow, like this one has.
Mm. Yeah.
Kind of like this, like unitary. I mean, money and order and stuff like. So I guess I see a shift, which is a positive thing.
You know what they say, one cool thing they say though, that the end times is only supposed to last 7 years.
7 years, 7 years. And so that's 7 years from when the clouds open and you hear the
yeah.
or is it already possibly, are we already, I mean, do we not know even when we're emits it, or we're gonna know, like we're gonna know? I mean, or it's something that you don't know until after it's happened.
There's gray area there. Like half of them will tell you that the rapture happens first.
What's the
and
rapture?
then that's when Jesus comes and takes all the Christians.
Okay.
And then
And you got 7 years to convert. Hey, if Jesus comes down, I'll read the Bible, man. I'll do it. I'll read the Bible. I'll sit down. I'll read that from start to cover. And
that's one way of reading it, is that Jesus comes first, and then the survivors that have to go through the trials and tribulations. I think traditionally in Hollywood, the movies they put out about it, that's kind of what the world's doing their thing, and then all of a sudden millions vanish overnight and they're gone, and everybody realizes it's the rapture, or and then that creates the perfect scenario for a leader to arise, and
that's the Antichrist,
and
though.
That'll be the Antichrist.
That'll be the Antichrist.
And and then money fails, all this stuff, and you now take what they call the mark of the beast, to have to buy and sell anything, which is basically like they call it the number 666 will be put on your right hand or forehead, is what they say in the Bible. And anyway, but that only lasts 7 years before God and everybody comes back to earth again, and then completely destroys evil, and the blood on earth will be as high as the mane on the horse, and this and that, and then 1,000 years of peace or something like that
on earth.
But
we're in heaven. He's gonna take them up, and then he's gonna bring them back.
Yeah, and that's like, and then that's the knee, and then you get this knee-jerk reaction from a lot of Christians too, that reincarnation, it doesn't exist, it's not a thing. It's like, but you still think you're coming back here, but and then I say there's the other theory too, that everybody goes through 7 years of trials and tribulations, and Jesus comes at the end of it all, and then there's this like intermission period while we're all in heaven for a bit, and then Jesus and all of us, or all of those with him, come back, and there's this war to end all wars, and literally Jesus and Satan fight it out, as like the rest of us are all foot soldiers fighting it out, but Jesus and Satan are over here like really getting it on, and finally Jesus like kills, takes the head off of Satan, and then the lion shall lay down with the lamb, and there will be peace on earth. Yeah. So, but I guess what I was saying is, like, no matter what, once that shit starts kicking off, like, we got 7 years. That's easy, Yeah. And, I can go live in the mountains for 7 years. No biggie.
Yeah. It's funny. I wonder what, like, I mean,
you're doing, and like I say, man, there's so many, like, some high IQ adults in this world are all running with that script in their head going. It's crazy, bro.
I mean, it's so weird too. Yeah, it seems so. It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, when I hear all that, it's like I see. I mean, you kind of give me. It's like God, I know. It's like
Yeah. Do you know any Christians besides like any of the conversations we've had?
not actually. My last podcast was with a
Christian
Christian, but
on
we didn't really get deep into Christianity. We were talking about. We talked because he
it
said something
probably
about
It'd
what?
probably be beneficial if you next time you're talking to a Christian, maybe on a podcast,
Yeah,
without attacking or anything
yeah,
like
no,
that.
I want to know these things to some
Like,
extent, but
is this, yeah, like, or like, are you, like, it's interesting to hear it from a true, like,
something that
believer. Like,
believes.
I want you to not hear it from my perspective. I
Yeah,
want you to
yeah,
literally
yeah,
ask a believing Christian, like, to give you the rundown,
yeah,
you know, um,
yeah. I
of
guess
how this goes.
yeah. The main thing I want to know is like what, yeah, what in this region, like, I mean, like, no, I mean, yeah, I want to know what they think. What the, sometimes I
Um,
feel like I just feel like the Christian mentality views thinks that the world is aware of all that. You know, what I mean, I mean, are we just left out of it, or is there like,
no, see, no, you guys have all been given the opportunity to convert, especially due to the internet now. You have exposure to Christ. You have been given the choice. If you have not taken if you've chosen the wrong choice, love you, but you're going to hell. Sorry. Yeah.
so,
Um,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's most of Thailand. I mean, there's probably
yeah,
less than
I
a
mean,
percent of Christians.
like
We're all just gonna, yeah,
missionaries have come to Thailand, correct? Are there, it's
yeah. They're the
have access to
some of
the
them,
Bible.
yeah,
So according to them, you've been given the choice to accept. And,
yeah.
should you remain Buddhist, you might be a nice person, but until you accept Jesus Christ in your heart as your Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's it. Plain and
And then
simple.
so from what you know about where where does the Muslim perspective come in? Because they believe in a lot of that, not the Jesus part, but
They
the
believe, they do
pre-Jesus. I mean, what led up to that, they have to believe in the premises
they
to
believe
those, right?
they believe in Jesus.
I mean, as a
Um,
prophet, right? Not as a, he's not coming back as a savior, though, right? Or is he?
they do have an end times written in their Quran too. And whether or not Jesus himself is a part of it, I don't know. But they do same thing, have an antichrist type figure coming, and
Anti-Allah? I
that's
mean, that's the one thing I from a Muslim description of God is more in line. Sometimes I feel there's less. It's kind of more. I don't like a clear description or like personification. I don't feel Allah is as personified in
yeah,
in Muslim. I may or may not be. I mean, to me that the description, the way it's, and you don't really talk about it. It's almost blasphemous to even talk about it in some sense. Like to try to define something that's limitless is kind of
right. That's why they don't believe in drawing pictures of them and stuff like that.
yeah. So I guess I'm interested in so
But yeah,
the Muslims are going to
there's
hell too in that time, right? I mean, they didn't
yeah,
from the Revelations, Book of Revelation, or the what did you call the
even no,
rapture?
even the book of even Romans earlier in the Bible, this guy Paul, who was a Jew who got converted to Christianity, according to the Bible, but because Jesus appeared to him. He was a Jew killing Christians, and he was on his way to go kill some more Christians, and all of a sudden Jesus appeared above him or something and blinded him, and he fell off his horse and he was blind for 3 days. And after that experience, he was now a converted Christian, and then went on to promote Christianity and preach Christ. However, and he would say too that, unless you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, full Lord and Savior, and then you're going to hell. So yeah, they would say even prior to
Jews and
Revelations,
Muslims are going to hell with the Buddhist.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they're all the same. And
Like I
that's
say, dude, I'll be sitting with my kids. My mom will look me stone cold in the face and tell me, she started picking on me the other day, like at my grandma's house. Somehow they like poking me, just they want to see what I'll say, kind of shit. And I always, 'cause I was talking about how something about reincarnation or something,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You don't believe in that stuff, do you?" Or whatever. And I'm like, "Do you get a new body when you go to heaven?" Well, yeah. I'm like, "Well, that's reincarnation, like no matter what, you're just
Yeah.
changing the location." But so you believe in reincarnation too.
Yeah.
But yeah, forgot where I was going with that. Just oh yeah, that everybody's going to hell except for
Yeah.
it's like everybody's the chosen one. And like the Christians think they're the chosen one.
Yeah.
And
No,
the Jews
it's funny, but it's funny. So even the Jews are going to hell.
Mhm.
That's funny. Okay.
So
So they're only like teaming up with them now to get them to
it's this
start
weird
it on.
thing of
That
like,
is,
yeah, we want you to have Israel. Take it, take it,
take
take
it, so,
it.
take it so you can go to hell, you filthy Jews. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah, that's sort of like that Dr. Shiva kind of guy. He's big on anti-Zionism right now, talking about it all the time. Um, he might be a good guy to listen to, get a
Yeah.
better perspective, my redneck perspective of it. But um, uh, yeah, like Zionism is actually truly anti-Semitism, in a lot of ways, like because it ends bad for them, they don't.
But do they believe that? They don't believe that part because that's in the New Testament, right? The Revelation part that says that when they return to Israel, that Jesus will come down. They're not going to believe that, right?
Here's the other weird thing is the Christians' antichrist is going to be the Jews' Messiah.
Okay.
See, like I said, the Jews the Jews do believe
Yeah.
God is incarnate on earth.
Yeah.
And
Messiah, it just hasn't happened yet. Okay.
And to them, it hasn't happened yet. So that's going to be this crossroads of Jews are going to say he's our Messiah, and while the Christians are going to say he's
there
the
already
Antichrist.
is that. There already is somebody in Israel that is, I think, a large number. I don't know. I got to look back. I heard there's a large number of people who do follow somebody who are calling him a Messiah in Israel. Like Jewish people are. There's a person. He's alive right now. And they're following him.
Yeah, they're starting to say he's the Messiah.
Yeah. I heard that there is somebody. I'll have to look more into that and get more information on that. But I thought that was well, we'll see. Yeah. Well, that's some interesting stuff. So but then see, I mean, like,
Try to make it make sense.
no, yeah. See, and every time I do, I'm just like, this makes so much less sense than Buddhism to me. Like the way Buddhism is like written, it's just like this, it follows this logical order, and it has nothing to do with what anybody said. It's just kind of it gets you to like identify, that there's nothing that is nothing about what you would call the self is permanent. Like it's every way you can give yourself identity, and every way that you think you are you, that is actually changes through time. So there is no actual aspect of you that is persistent. And then that's like, then all of a sudden you realize the self is an illusion. And it's like it is abstract, but it's like it doesn't rely on all these like weird things that are like it's almost easier to just kind of look at it abstractly, like to try to make sense of, like, these are literal
and that's what, you know, like we've had the talk before, which ended up big part of what led me to Taoism too, because it's sort of like, even in Buddhism, you find a lot of the Buddhists have sort of made a demigod out of Buddha, right?
yeah.
And, what I'm saying, and so, but once you get that thing, they're like, hey, hold on, there is no, you know, God's here, you know, or whatever. It's not in a personified in a man, or it's anyway, that's what, ultimately you end up, the next step, you know, before Buddha is Taoism, right? And then you end up kind of
one way that, I mean, they're compatible. Yeah, to me they're really compatible. They go well together. Again, the Buddhist philosophy and psychology, really, I look at Buddhist as a psychology and Taoism as a philosophy. Like Buddhism to me is basically the purpose of it is detaching yourself from everything. Like, first it's material things and importances, but then it's ultimately to detach yourself from the self and identifying as like, this is who I am, and trying to hold on to it like this is my identity, and releasing that. And then maybe there is Taoism. So maybe I'm not sure which is deeper, Taoism or Buddhism. But again, Buddhism is more like, is for the psychology of, and then Taoism is more like the nature of the universe. I guess that's, So Buddhism is like, doesn't really address God at all. You can have, it's like that, it has nothing to do with God. It has to do with yourself. Yeah, it's like Buddhism is understanding the self, and ultimately that it's not even real, or it's intangible. And then Taoism is more understand the nature of the universe.
Yeah, and in there too is there's some danger too of like killing the ego. You're right. You don't. We've talked about this before on our last podcast. You know, when you start completely detached, you know, how are you going to have a functioning country?
Exactly.
If there is no real country. You know
I mean?
No,
and that's why, so that actually goes back into my a couple of podcasts. So we'll kind of leave some of this other stuff behind. Let's get into a little bit. You have time? I know you're a family man.
I'm getting texts from my daughter to come home and help from homework.
Okay, well, I'll wrap it up. I like to wrap it up on just to kind of tie a lot of my podcasts together with this is like that, and death, and like preparing for my death is that's like, I think a lot of Buddhists are like, they're trying to like reach a state of enlightenment, and it's like, I would not want to be an enlightened Buddha at like he did. He left his wife and kids, like, you know what I mean? He wasn't a father. He had a kid and he just bounced to go find himself. You know, I was like, that was like, but I would like to do that ultimately. Like, I do want to detach myself in the end, and they're just a very end of my life. So I do want to prepare myself to be able to be in that position where I can. And I want, like I said, I want to die alone. I want to detach myself from my wife, my son, you know, my land, all these things that are like, I don't want to do that yet. Like, how would I function if I do that? But ultimately, I think I completely am with like, we should prepare to be in a place that we're comfortable to detach from everything that means everything to us, but definitely not looking to do that anytime soon.
Yeah. In order for, I guess, everybody's on their own personal journey, but it's like to leave with it, without you're gonna need a hell of an ego to create what you need to create to feel satisfied, like you did your duty to your son and your wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm going to miss you, or worried. I don't want to be worried about who I leave behind. And I don't want to miss them either. I don't be like, I'm going to miss you guys. Give them, hold them hand. I mean, That would suck to go out
I mean,
holding somebody's hand. But I don't know. It's just terrible. That would
yeah,
the worst thing I'd
there's-
want would be in that position. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you found him in this life, you'll probably find him in the next one. You know, it's a that's the way I look at it. It's I don't you don't yeah. I think we already talked about that on the last one. I think our deeper personal connections with people are it's like a gravity situation. You know, we're gonna manifest again in a you know, we're probably gonna be in that same circle, that same just maybe a different story going on, but the same dynamics or you know, we're probably you know, there's all a spiritual evolution too, right? I mean, so yeah, maybe the plots change and stuff, but it's like, you know, now this version of, you know, whatever your name is in that realm or whatever the hell, but
Yeah.
so that's the way I look at it too. It's like ultimately it's like, yeah, as long if I envision it in my last days, it's like I'm pretty certain I'll have a very confident feeling of like it's all good. I'm gonna see you soon. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
already lean that way. By the time I'm old, you know, it's like and because of your influence and stuff and me getting that property and stuff like that, I'm already like feeling way closer to like feeling like you know, I have something worthwhile to leave to them
Yeah.
to uh you know to, I don't know, that was my whole yeah as a father, you know, what do I want to you know it's a relay race, I guess, in a way you think, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I want to pass that baton off in a very
Yeah.
good fashion. I want to leave them, you know, pissing in the wind,
Sure. Yeah.
but yeah, so anyway, but
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
yeah, I keep thinking about you know, like yeah, that creating that the perfect not yeah, the ideal death day, I guess, or that scenario, like and I've been talking to so many people about it too. You know, I got this buddy in Thailand, man, and you know, he's a doctor now and you know, blah blah blah. And his whole thing he kind of gets at is like, why are you, you know, why are you living your life like you're not gonna die? You know, pretending like that day doesn't come, and you pretend that it's not coming until you find yourself in a hospital stuck on tubes, and you know, looking back with regret, going, "Man, you know, I should have, you know, you know." And so many of the Christians, like I say, they don't think they're gonna die. That's even worse.
Yeah.
They literally, you know, so why would you live your life in a manner where you're going to pass something on to your children? Because
Yeah.
they're not going to be here for it anyway. I might as well sell it for money now.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
And evidence to your nothing what they could have had they been planning on, you know, like this is actually a relay race, not a we all get evaporated at the end, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that.
Um, so thank you for your influence on
Well,
that.
thank you. Thank you for being my intellectual booty call, baby. Yeah.
Down, down, down,
Oh, Speed, you got that Butte hat. Are you wearing that for me? Orville County. I mean, Butte County, Orville, baby. Is that the Butte Mountains? Hell yeah. What's that all about?
It's a plumbing supply house.
Okay.
Butte
In,
Supply.
in Butte County?
They must have started there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, baby. Repping.
Yeah, they're kind of over the Northern California. Maybe actually no, they're all over because I just got a call today from a girl in Baton Rouge.
Oh,
The
yeah.
corporate office over there in Baton Rouge that works for Buttes that
You know what the significance of the Butte Mountains?
do they get shot over there by a volcano eruption or something in Shasta?
No, the smallest mountain range in the world.
Okay, I know about that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. That was they're beautiful. They're beautiful in a they have all the characteristics. Whatever defines a mountain range is I guess some, I don't know if it's a mathematical inclination from a plane, but they really are. They're small, they're cute, they're adorable. Right? But they're majestic too. I mean, they have the majestic feeling of large mountains, but it's real small. So it's like in the horizon, they are beautiful. If you get in the right, you see them, they're so cute, aren't they? But
No, yeah,
majestic.
I see them all the time.
Yeah.
Rio Linda's not that far from them. You can see them
Yeah.
from my house.
Okay, yeah. They're cute little thing. They just pop up and little.
Yeah, they're distinct. I mean, I look at it, the whole Sacramento Valley is like an ancient lake bed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's some weird island in the middle of an old lake, is the way I see the buttes.
Oh, okay, that would.
Um,
Yeah. That's.
if you look at that Sacramento Valley,
Yeah.
I guess they say it was actually carved by a glacier, but to me it looks more like an ancient lake bed that you know, will probably someday be filled back up.
Yeah.
In a sacrificial manner, thereby calling it the Sacramento Valley.
Oh, all right.
Oh, that's podcast for another time.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to leave your daughter hanging if too, and yeah, we covered a lot. I'm glad that's the first time I really got to try. Yeah, we can't. It's good to just get it out to kind of because yeah, there's so much craziness going on, and just trying to make sense of it all is crazy. So, you know, stay black, white power, homie. What was that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what? Yeah. Oh, you had a call?
Yeah, that's my daughter calling.
Okay. All right.
So love you, homie.
Once you come home, I love you. Peace.
All right, Doc.
All right. Bye. Late.